A week of schooling was lost in July, but it won't be recovered.
See you later.
Even before that month, schooling disruptions were felt. Learners from poor backgrounds are bearing the brunt.
If a child loses a week of school time, the child has lost approximately 1.5 weeks of actual learning because of the way learning works, because of disruptions, because of forgetting. If children are not in contact with teachers, especially children from disadvantaged communities, learning does not happen as it should.
The pandemic has also changed enrollment patterns.
We see that young children who should be coming into school for the first time in grade R or grade 1 is lower than we would expect by about 25,000, which is a problem. Our estimates currently are that we've lost about 10,000 learners of compulsory school-going age.
Even those in classrooms are struggling to improve on reading, as shown by the data.
What happened with the pandemic? Well, it hardly went up. It went up to 24. Historical data suggests this should be 31. So in other words, reading progress for these particular learners kind of came to a halt in 2020. And if you look at those numbers, essentially it tells us that about 80% of what children should have learnt in a year was lost.
If I'm here, it's opposite over adjacent.
Education authorities say although matriculants are making progress, lower grades aren't coping.
As you go lower down, grade 11, grade 10, because they are still on rotational times in the majority of schools, which is where we are beginning to see greater learning losses.
We're working with provinces to create more spaces that indeed we ensure that all learners in primary schools are fully accommodated and can return to classes.
The department says it wants to prevent further losses to learning, but has acknowledged safety concerns raised by some schools.
Experts keep on reminding us that children are less susceptible to COVID-19 infections. So our efforts to introduce comprehensive safety protocols in schools and the vaccination of teachers and support staff have created the possibility to keep schools open and sustain return to regular attendance.
Having our children in schools does not, from the data, encourage transmissions, and conversely, keeping them at home does not increase transmissions either.
Longer-term repercussions on schooling inevitably dire.
We're almost certainly not going to be able to get back to where we should be or would have been had there been no pandemic.
Support for our teachers.
But it's hoped a 3-year recovery plan will come in handy. Teachers, in the meantime, continue to put in extra hours in an effort to cover the curriculum. SABC News, Johannesburg.